ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। I pray to all my gurus that the meanings of Vishnu Sahasranam, which I have been trying to explain from many videos, may I be able to give it in a very simple manner, and along with the bhava, the feelings attached with it. The names themselves are sometimes uh, very dry, like the names when you read, like for example, today I'm going to start from the shloka number 7, where it says Agrahaya Shashvataha, means Bhagwan is permanent, Bhagwan is um, he cannot be perceived by our senses. So when we read names like this, sometimes the feelings don't come. They seem to be like a very logical explanation of things. But here I have prayed to Bhishma Pitamaha and my gurus that when I explain, may the feeling come out. May we can feel Bhagwan through these names. So I'm trying my best. Let us see how we get into it. The previous video where we ended, I have told that in Vishnu Sahasranam, from shlok number 6 to shlok number 13, there are names of Lord Shiva. And in the previous video, I also explained that one must not differentiate in the Hari Hara. Hari means Vishnu and Har means Shiva. One should not differentiate between Hari and Har. This is told in all our Puranas everywhere. And in the previous videos, I quoted some quotations from shlokas from Vishnu Purana. Today also, because the names are of Shiva also in there, today also I'll take some shloka and then we'll begin from there. Same in Vishnu Puran, at one point in Vishnu Puran, Canto 5, first chapter, shlok number 30 and 31, there is one shlok, it says, Yadaha vasudha sarvam satyameva divaukasah aham bhavo bhavantascha sarvanarayana नारायणात्मकं विभूतियस्तु यास्तस्य तासामेव परस्परम् अधिक्ये न्यूनता बाध्य बाधकत्वेन वर्तते. Bhagwan is saying, O Devatas, all the Devas, whatever earth has said, it is right. Me and Shiva, we are both the form of Narayana. One should not differentiate between us. If somebody is differentiating, it is only their ignorance. And in the previous videos also I have spoken on this, that Lord Shiva also said that if somebody talks about us and says we are different, then they are basically committing a sin. And that sin, for that sin, they will have to go to hell. So this thing we have to understand, and we have to now understand the meaning of Vishnu Sahasranam, because from shlok number 6 to shlok number 13, there are many names of Shiva that is going to come. And just be reminded that Bhishma Pitamaha, he is lying down on that bed of arrows and he is seeing Krishna in front of him. And in front of Krishna only he is giving all these names, saying that this Krishna, again that name is going to come, that Krishna is standing in front of me, he is Vishnu and he has appeared as Shiva, he has appeared as Shambhu. So one should not differentiate between these names. Now let's get into the names. Shlok number 7, it says Agrahaya Shashvata Sthanur Agrahaya Shashvata Krishno Lohitaksha Pratardanaha Prabhuta Trikuba Dhama Pavitram Mangalam Param. He says Agrahaya, the one who cannot be perceived by our sense organs, who cannot be perceived by the mind, who cannot be perceived by Vani, by speech. So that person is called Agrahaya. And he is permanent, he is Shashvataha. And the third name he gives is Krishna. That person is Krishna. So Krishna is Krishna standing in front of him. He says Krishna is here. There's a lot of meaning in this. He says Krishna is right here. But Agrahaya, it is very difficult to understand him through the senses, because there were so many people in that time when Krishna was there, but only the Pandavas know he is Bhagwan. Bhishma Pitamaha knows he is Vishnu, he is Shiva. Others were asking for proof. But what is a proof? What proof can he give? No matter how many languages you speak and you try to give names for him, it is impossible. So, Agrahaya Shashvataha. People may say, that Krishna who appeared, he was a human being. No, he was not a human being. He was Bhagwan himself. So, Agrahaya Shashvataha, the one who is permanent, who remains at all the time, that Bhagwan who never changes, that reality, he is always there as Vishnu, that reality, and now he has appeared as Krishna. That is also reality. That Krishna who is dark. The Krishna has two names, two meanings. One who is dark. So I always interpret it like, when we are praying, if we never knew in the name of any God, but we pray to that God and we close our eyes, right? It's normal. When we do prayer, we close our eyes. So when we close our eyes, we have some trust, some faith that somebody is listening to us. And he is giving us, he's fulfilling our desires, and he's fulfilling our prayers. That person is not seen. He's behind this darkness. All I can see is this darkness. So let this darkness be Krishna. He is God. Darkness means Krishna. Kala, black. So that black thing that I'm seeing, or sometimes it appears blue, that black and blue thing I see is Krishna, is God. So one meaning is that. Another meaning is the most attractive. Krishna means the most attractive. Every living being, they're attracted towards God. Naturally, even a child is attracted. When we are in danger, automatically we close our eyes and we want to pray to that unknown, who is the most attractive. He is called Krishna. And there's another meaning. Krishna can be divided into two words, Krish and Ana. Krish means Satta. Satta means existence. And Ana means Ananda, means bliss. So Krishna means whose very existence is blissful. He is also called as Satchidanand, pure bliss, pure consciousness, the eternal truth. In Mahabharata, Shanti Parva, Krishna says to Arjun, "Oh Arjun, my color is bluish, dark blue, and that is why I am called as Krishna." So these are the various meanings of Krishna, and Bhishma Pitama is saying Agrahaya. I'm trying to give three words, three meanings, but Agrahaya. You cannot explain it fully, but you look at Krishna, that Krishna is what is being spoken about in this 1,000 names. So Agrahaya Shashvataha Krishna Lohitakshaha Pratardanaha. Now here the word is Lohitaksha. Now Lohitaksha also means Shiva. Lohitaksha means the one who has red eyes. So two meanings of red eyes here. One meaning is, oh, this war happened. If I think like Bhishma, right? This war happened. In this war, Krishna was angry. He has taken the form of Rudra. He has taken the form of Shiva. And so many people were dying in the war. Why were they dying? When we hear the universal form in Gita, Bhagwan shows his universal form and Arjuna is looking at it and he sees Bhagwan's eyes is red. And fire is coming out from his mouth. So he sees that. And Arjun says, Bhagwan, show me this, don't show me this form. This is very scary. Why are you looking so terrible? Please show me your Saumya form, means your gentle form. And at that time, Bhagwan comes into his four-handed form, which is the Vishnu form. And after that, Bhagwan comes into two-handed form. And then Bhagwan says, "Oh Arjun, this two-handed form is very difficult for anybody, but you are lucky to see that. People know me as the four-handed form Vishnu. But that Vishnu is just my extension. My original form is this two-handed form, Krishna." And Bhishma Pitamaha has mentioned here, that form is in front of you, that is Krishna. That Krishna is not ordinary. That Krishna is the Vishnu whom I am describing through these 1,000 names. He is Lohitaksha. He was angry. That is why his eyes are red. And he is Shiva, because you remember we started from fourth one where from fourth shloka where it said Sarva Sharva Shiva. Today we are speaking on the sixth, but it started from there. He says that was Shiva. He is the one dispenser of the fruits of all the actions. So in this Yuddha Bhumi, in this battlefield, he had red-eyed, he was in anger, but that is Krishna. He is very attractive. So one meaning is this. But we are Krishna premis. We don't see Krishna as angry all the time. We want to see him in love. So eyes will become love. We also say, oh, his eyes are love because his eyes are red because it is full of love. And especially when he sees Radharani, that love just starts coming out from the eyes. So we as Krishna premis, lover of Krishna, we see as Krishna as Lohitaksha. He has reddish eye. Why? Because he is in love with Radharani. And when he looks at all his devotees, that love is just flowing out from his eyes. So he is a red-eyed Krishna whom we love. Then he is Pratardanaha. Pratardanaha means, Tarda means to destruction. The one who caused this destruction. So here Bhishma Pitamaha is the warrior lying down and is saying, oh, all this destruction that happened in this battlefield, he was the one. Pratardanaha, Prabhutaha, he is ever full. Everything has come from him. He is perfect. And the one Lord Krishna that you see, he has done all these things, but nobody can point finger at him. Whatever he did was perfect. Trikakub Dhama, he is pervading in all the three quarters. The realms below, the realms in the middle, and the realms above. He is pervading in all the three states of Swapna, that is dreaming state, Shushupti, sleeping state, and waking state. Even though this war has happened, people may say a lot of things about Krishna, but no. Bhishma Pitamaha says he is Pavitram. He is the most purest, and Mangalam Param. He is the one who gives Mangal. Mangal means all auspiciousness, not just Mangal, Param Mangal, the supreme auspiciousness. Even though this war happened here, all of them died, but all of them were liberated. Because why? Because this Krishna, he is Param Mangalam. Mangala Bhavan Amangala Hari. Wherever he stands, he has stood for Dharma, and wherever there is Dharma, there is only auspiciousness. So even though people have died here in this battlefield, but it's all auspicious. So those who remember Krishna, or those who remember this 1,000 names, all good things are going to happen to them. So deep devotion, ardent meditation, and firm faith in Lord Vishnu will save all the devotees from all the mental storms. That's why he is called Pavitram, the one who purifies us, who removes our problems, and Param Mangalam, the one who removes our darkness, who removes all the evil from our life, and who brings joy in our life. His mere name, if you just remember his name, Ashubhani Nirachaste Tanoti Shubha Santatim Smriti Matrena Yat Pumsam Brahma Tan Mangalam Viduhu. Just by remembering his name, all good things will happen to you just by, and all the bad things will go away just by remembering. So the person just whom we just remember and all good things happen, he is called as Param Mangalam. And who is that? He has already told in this shloka, Krishna, Krishna. Alright, now let's go to stanza 8. Ishana pranada prano, Jeshta Shreshta Prajapatihi, Hiranyagarbho Bhugarbho, Madhavo Madhusudanaha. Ishanaha, the one, Ishana is also the name of Lord Shiva. So, the one who is the controller of all the 5 elements, he is called as Ishanaha. Pranadaha, the one who gives prana or life force to everybody, that is called Pranadaha. Prano, he is the life force himself. Jeshtaha, who is the greatest? Shreshtaha, who is the most glorious one. So now this meaning, these names, and Prajapati, the one who is the lord of all the living creatures. Now when we see these names, Ishanaha is the one, it goes continually, the controller of all 5 great elements. So this body, the giver of life force, the life force itself. In this body, what is the greatest thing? The body is useless if there is no life force. So in this body, the life force is Bhagwan, and that is why he is the Jeshta and he is the Shreshta. He is the biggest, he is the oldest, and he is the greatest. And he is Prajapati. He is the one from whom all the living creatures have come. Prajapati is also Manu. He came as Manu, from whom he is the creator of all the living beings. He is the creator. Then he is Hiranyagarbho, the one, this universe is called as a golden egg. Hiranyagarbha means golden womb. So he is that golden womb. This universe came out from him and he entered into all the universes. That is why he is called as Hiranyagarbha. And Bhugarbha, one who is the very womb of this Bhu, of this world. From him, this world emerged out. So he is Bhugarbha. And then 2 more names. Madhavo Madhusudanaha. Madhav means, Ma means Lakshmi and Dhav means husband. So the husband of Lakshmi is Madhava. Another one meaning is, very beautiful meaning, it is called the one who is known by Madhu Vidya Avabodhatvat Dhavatvadha Shriyo Nisham Maunadhyanacha Yogacha Vidhi Bharat Madhavam. This comes in Mahabharat Udyog Parva. So 3 meanings of Madhav have been given. One meaning is he is the husband of Lakshmi ji. One meaning. Another one is the one who is known by Madhu Vidya. Now what is this Madhu Vidya? The first meaning, there is a lot of things connected in this one little word Madhav, okay? So you have to pay attention. First thing is, Ma means Lakshmi. Another name for Lakshmi is Shri. Shri is worshipped by saying Shri Shukta. Lakshmi ji is worshipped by saying Shri Shukta. Shri Shukta, who blessed Shri Shukta? It was blessed by Shri Lalita Tripur Sundari, and her knowledge is known as Shri Vidya. So Shri Suktam is a part of Shri Vidya, and Lalita Tripur Sundari herself has become Lakshmi. She has divided into 3 forms: Saraswati, Lakshmi and Gauri. So when we read Tripura Rahasya, there the story comes where Ma Lalita Tripur Sundari has blessed Shri Suktam, saying anybody who prays through who prays and who chants Shri Suktam, I am very pleased on that devotee. So this Devi, Lakshmi, original Devi is Tripura. Her Vidya, her knowledge is called as Shri Vidya. And this Shri Vidya is called as Brahma Vidya. And this Brahma Vidya was known to a sage called Dadichi. His story comes in the Puranas. And Dadichi gave these Vidyas to Ashwini Kumar. That Vidya is called as Madhu Vidya. So Madhu Vidya is Brahma Vidya is Shri Vidya. And Bhagwan is pleased by those who are practicing Shri Vidya. Because how can you practice? Even if you read the Lalita Sahasranamam or you read the Sri Suktam, you are praying to Shri. Shri means Lakshmi. If Lakshmi is pleased, Lakshmi's husband is also pleased because he is Madhava. So that one word Madhav has many different meanings hidden into it. So one who can be pleased by Madhu Vidya. Another one is Mauna Dhyanacha Yogacha Vidhi. The one who can be pleased by Maunam, by practicing meditation in silence and by doing yoga. That person is called as Madhava. So, three different meanings of Madhav. Alright, the next word was given Madhusudan. This also is a very nice word. All those Devi Upasakas, you know who was Madhu. Madhu Kaitabh. Those who read the Durga Shapshati will know. So, Madhu was a demon who came out of the year wax of Sri Vishnu. When we read the Durga Shapshati, the story comes and Vishnu killed Madhu. That's why he's called as Madhu Sudana. Madhu also has one more meaning. It means honey. What is honey? All the bees, they go to different flowers and they collect all these things in the honeycomb. And then finally whatever we get is honey. It is their hard work. It is the fruit of their hard work. So our senses are like these bees, honeybees. We are going to different things, collecting, trying to collect the nectar from everything. We are looking for happiness, joy, all that we collected. The fruits of the actions. That is called Madhu. But all the actions, whatever we do, leave some impressions on our consciousness. That impression is called Vasana. And that Vasana is the reason why we take birth and again and suffer. So Madhusudan means the one who removes this Vasana, this sanskaras, and stops this cycle of birth and death. So that is Madhusudan, the destroyer of vasanas. Let's go to slok number 9. Ishvaro vikramo dhanvi medami vikrama kramaha anuttamo duradarsha kritagya kritiratmavan. Ishvara, the one who is omnipotent and he has all the powers with him. He is controlling everybody. So we bow down to him. Vikrami, who is full of power, who is very courageous, daring. And another meaning for Vikram is V means Garud, the eagle. Krama means the one who travels on the eagle. Okay. V also means Akash, ether. And where is that ether tattva in the body? The ether in our body is mind. So that devotee who is like a Garud. Garud means the eagle. Have you seen the eagle taking a flight? His attention, is like very pointed. And he can go over heights. So that devotee who has trained his mind to that heights, that his attention is like single focused, totally devoted on the lotus feet of Vishnu. Ether means this mind space. Whose mind space has nothing but Bhagwan, who is always thinking of the names, the forms, the pastimes, the qualities of Bhagwan. That person is called a Garud. That devotee is called a Garud or like an eagle. and on that eagle mind, Bhagwan travels. So that is Garuda. That is called Vikrami. Also, Vikram means Vaman Bhagwan, Vaman Avatar. You know, Vaman, in his Vaman Avatar, he took three tiny steps. He was a dwarf. He took three tiny steps to cover the three worlds. And that's why Vikrami also known as the Vaman Avatar. So with these three meanings, we we bow down to Vaman. Then the next word is Dhanvi. Ishwaro Vikramo Dhanvi, Medhavi Vikramakrama Dhanvi. Dhanvi means the one who has a bow and an arrow. Who has a bow and arrow? Lord Ram. So Lord Ram ki jai. In Gita he says, I am the one who is the wielder of the bow. So there is Dhanvi, Medhavi. Medhavi means supremely intelligent. Duradharshaha, whom oh, मेधावी विक्रमः मेधावी विक्रमः क्रमः ईश्वरो विक्रमी धन्वी मेधावी विक्रम विक्रम I told you Vikrami means very courageous. Vikrama is the one Vaman who travels everywhere, and Krama means who goes in steps. So I've given all these meanings. Many of the names you will find them repeated. Krama means who is all pervading. That is meant. That is known as Kramaha. So Vikrama Kramaha Anuttamo. There is nobody comparable to him. He is the greatest in glory. So he is called as Anuttama. And then Duradharshaha, one who cannot be attacked, stormed, or beleaguered successfully. All the asuras cannot even defeat him. He is a supreme powerful person. That is why he is called Duradharsha. Kritagnaha, Kritir Atmavan. Kritagnya is very beautiful word. Kritagnya means he's very much obliged, or he's always in gratitude. If you just simply offer him, in Gita he says, just offer me four things: water, leaf, flower, patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, and some fruit. If you just offer him these four things, he is very much pleased. And if you just offer him, some prayers, some love, he is very much pleased. And for that, he will give you everything. He will never forget what you did for him. He is Kritagnya. He knows all your activities, and whatever you have given to him in sincerity and devotion, he will reciprocate similarly. Kritihi, the one who is a dynamic force behind everything, all the actions in the world, he is called Kritihi. Atmavan, the one who is in himself, who in the Shrutis it is said, Swe Mahimni Pratishthataha, the one who is established in his own glorious self, that is called as Atmavan. So to this Krishna, who is Ishvara and who is Vaman and who is Ram, we bow down to him. Now we go to stanza 10. Suresha Sharanam Sharma Vishwareta Prajabhavaha Ahaha Samvatsaro Vyala Pratyaya Sarva Darshanaha. He is Suresha. Sur means the denizens of the heavens, and he is the lord of them. These devatas, they fulfill our wishes. But how do they get the power to fulfill our wishes? They get it from Krishna. Sharanam, he is the refuge for all. Sharma, he is infinite bliss. Sachidananda. Vishwaretaha, he is the seed. Retas means the seed. He is the seed of the universe. Vishwareta Prajabhavaha, from whom all the living beings come forth. That is why he is called Prajabhavaha. Ahaha. Aha has two meanings. One is the 24-hour day or the 12-hour daytime. The one who is Prakashvan, who is self-illuminated or who represents illumination or light, is called Ahaha. And Samvatsaro is who is the Lord of time. And Vyalaha means who is the greatest time in the form of serpent. Serpent has a slippery nature. You can't. So similarly, Bhagwan is time, the greatest time, and time is always slippery. So many we have lived so many years, and time has just slipped away. So you cannot hold him. So Bhagwan is like time, and he is the greatest serpent. At the end, when our time is over, he just eats us up as death. So he is ever eluding, always slippery. He is like that serpent who is the greatest time, who is devouring all everything as death. Then Pratyayah Sarvadarshanah. He is Pratyayah, means whose very knowledge, very nature is knowledge. Pragyanam Brahma. His very nature is knowledge. And then Sarvadarshanaha. Sarvadarshana has many meanings. One is who is represented in all the philosophies, all the Vedas, all darshan means philosophy. The one who is represented in all darshan, all philosophies, he is the one. And it also means who sees everything. He has no eyes, but he is witness to everything. So the one who is seeing everything, that is Sarvadarshanaha. So we bow down to this God who is everywhere, who is seeing everything. He is the shelter, he is the refuge of all living beings, including the denizens. And he is the seed of everybody. So we bow down to this Bhagwan. And then we come to slok number 11. Aja Sarveshwara Siddha Siddhi Sarvadi Rachyuta Vrisha Kapira Me Atma Sarvayoga Vinisitaha. He is Ajaha. Aja means he is unborn. Then he is Sarveshwar. He is the controller of everybody. He is the God of all God. He is Siddha. He has achieved all the Siddhas. He is Siddhi. Whatever Siddhi we get when we are praying, anything that is fulfilled or any mastery over anything, whatever we get, that is called Siddhi. So he is that Siddhi. Sarvadi. He is the beginning of all. Achyutaha. He never falls. He is ever pure reality. Vrishakapihi. Now this is a very beautiful word. Vrishakapi means, Vrisha means dharma, means religion. Kapi has two meanings. Kapi means boar, and sometimes Kapi also means a monkey. Now, one meaning we will take is Vrishakapi here. It was given in Mahabharata. It says, Kapir Varaha Shreshtascha Dharmascha Vrisha Uchyate. Kapi is Varaha, means the boar incarnation of Bhagwan Vishnu, Varaha avatar. So Vrisha Kapi means that Varaha avatar. One meaning is that. Second meaning is Vrisha, as I told you, Dharma. Vrisha means the bull of Shiva, which is Nandi, which has 4 legs. These 4 legs are the 4 pillars of religion. Satya, Saucham, Tapa, Danam. Satya means truth. Saucham means cleanliness. Tapa means austerity. Danam means charity. These are the 4 pillars of Dharma. That is represented by the bull of Shiva. And that is also called Vrisha. Meaning, Shiva is there where Dharma is practiced. And wherever Shiva is there, Vishnu is there. Vrisha Kapihi. Kapi also means monkey. When we think of monkey, which god we remember? Hanumanji. Hanuman has monkey face. And wherever Hanuman is there, Ram is there. Even in the war of Kurukshetra, Hanuman was there in the flag. So, Vrishakapi. Why Vrishakapi? Because that war was a war of Dharma. And that is why he was there in the form of Hanuman. So, Vrishakapi. So, Vrishakapi has so many meanings. The boar incarnation, the Hanumanji in the flag, the bull of Shiva, which is Dharma, and wherever Dharma is there, they are there. Alright. So, these are the different meanings. Then comes Ame Atma. the one who has many manifestations in infinite varieties, and we cannot account for everybody. That is called as Ameyatma. And then comes Sarva Yoga Vinishritaha, who is known by all the yogas. At the same time, all the yogas cannot even uh, cannot even comprehend him. So he is in all the shastras, but still he is beyond the shastras and beyond the yogas. Now stanza 12. Vasumana Satya Samatma Samita Samaha Amoga Pundari Kaksho Vrishakarma Vrishakritihi. He is Vasu, the one who is the support of all the elements, and Vasumanaha, one who has a mind which is very supremely pure. Satyaha, he is the ultimate reality. Samatma, the one who is in everyone equally. Samitaha means the one who is acceptable. Now these two words combined together, Samatma Samitaha, becomes another name of Bhagwan, that is called as Samatma Asamitaha, which means who is incomparable and illimitable, who has none equal to him. He is Samaha, he is equal because he is the truth. And the next name is Amogha. Amogha means who is Satya Sankalp, whose power is whatever he has spoken, it has to happen. He is ever useful, he is the fulfiller of everything, and whatever he spoke, that is truth and truthful. Satya Sankalp, that is his wish, he is always truthful. So Satya Sankalpaha, that is called Amogha. Pundari Kaksho, beautiful name. Pundari Kaksha, one means he has beautiful lotus eyes, but another meaning that they are giving here is the one who lives on the lotus of our hearts. That is called as Pundari Kaksha. And then Vrishakarma and Vrishakriti. Vrisha means dharma, whose whatever activities he did, that is Vrishakarma. Now Bhishma Pitama is saying, this war that happened, people may say why war was necessary, but no, what action he did was all for religion. So this is why Vrishakarma. And this Krishna who is standing in front of us, he is Vrishakriti, means he is the form of dharma. So all his actions are dharma and his form is also dharma. Now we will end up with the last one for today. Rudro Bahushira Babru Vishwayoni Suchishrava Amrita Shashvata Sthanur Vararoho Mahatapaha. Again, we are ending up with Rudra. So we started with Shiva, now we are ending up with Shiva. Rudra means he is Shiva himself. Rudra means the terrible. Another meaning for Rudra is, Ru means sadness, and Dravyati means the one who takes away the sadness. So Rudra means the one who takes away the sadness is called as Rudra. At the time of death, total dissolution happens. So all those leelas are being controlled by Rudra. And in Gita, Bhagavan says, Rudranam Shankaraschashmi. I am Shankar, I am Rudra. And Sham, Shankar. Shankar means Sham Karoti iti Shankara. Sham means all auspicious things. Karoti means the one who does all the auspicious things. So Shankar means the one who is giving us auspicious things. And Gita Bhagavan says, I am Shankar. Even though, and Rudra means the one who takes away your sadness. So Rudro, he is Rudro. He is Bahushura. Bahushura means he has many heads. Means in every face and every person, it is him. And then he says, Vishwayonis Suchi Shravaha. He is the Vishwayoni, he Babru. Rudro Shiva, Rudro Bahushira Babrur. Babru means he is like a king who is ruling all the worlds. Vishwayoni Suchi Shravaha. He is Vishwayoni. He is the womb of the Vishwa. Vishwa means this world. Suchi Shravaha, the one who has beautiful ears and who is beautiful, Shuchi Shravaha, and who is everywhere, who has beautiful ears, and Suchi means very pure, and Shrava means ears. So who has beautiful ears is called Suchi Shravaha. And then comes Amritaha. He is Amrit, means he is immortal. Shashvataha, he is always permanent. Shashvata Sthanur, one who is both permanent and who is both irremovable. Vararaho Mahatapaha, he is Vararoha. Vara means boons, most glorious, and Aroha means destination. So he is the final destination where all boons, all wishes are fulfilled. So he is called Vararoha, and as well as he is Mahatapaha, he is the most austere, the greatest. Tapaha. Tapaha in Sanskrit means knowledge also. So he is knowledge personified. Tapaha means also prosperity. So he is prosperity personified. Tapa also means might, pratapa. So he is power personified. So Mahatapa means the one who is knowledge, prosperity, and power personified. That person is called Mahatapaha. We bow down to such beautiful Lord who is Mahatapaha. So with this we end 13. We have ended till 13. Rest of the shlokas we will hear in next video. Till then, Radhe Radhe, Jai Shri Krishna.